For the chief musician, by the sons of Korah, according to Alamoth. God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Therefore, we won't be afraid, though the earth changes, though the mountains are shaken into the hearts of the sea, though its waters roar and are trembled, though the mountains tremble with their swelling. There is a river, the streams of which make the city of God glad, the holy place of the tents of the Most High. God is within her, she shall not be moved. God will help her at dawn. The nations raged, the kingdoms were moved. He lifted his voice, and the earth melted. Yahweh of armies is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. Come, see Yahweh's works, what desolation he has made in the earth. He makes wars cease to the end of the earth. He breaks the bow and shatters the spear. He burns the chariots in the fire. Be still, and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. Yahweh of armies is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. For the chief musician, to the tune of the Lilies of the Covenant, a psalm by Asaph. Hear us, shepherd of Israel, you who led Joseph like a flock, you who sit above the cherubim, shine out. Before Ephraim, Benjamin, and Manasseh, stir up your might. Come to save us. Turn us again, God. Cause your face to shine, and we will be saved. Yahweh, God of armies, how long will you be angry against the prayer of your people? You have fed them with the bread of tears, and given them tears to drink in large measure. You make us a source of contention to our neighbors. Our enemies laugh among themselves. Turn us again, God of armies. Cause your face to shine, and we will be saved. You brought a vine out of Egypt. You drove out the nations and planted it. You cleared the ground for it. It took a deep root and filled the land. The mountains were covered with its shadow. Its boughs were like God's cedars. It sent out its branches to the sea, its shoots to the river. Why have you broken down its walls, so that those who pass by the way pluck it? The boar out of the wood ravages it. The wild animals of the field feed on it. Turn again, we beg you, God of armies. Look down from heaven and see, and visit its vine, the stock which your right hand planted, the branch that you made strong for yourself. It's burned with fire. It's cut down. They perish at your rebuke. Let your hand be on the man of your right hand, on the son of man whom you made yourself strong. So we will not turn away from you. Revive us, and we will call on your name. Turn us again, Yahweh, God of armies. Cause your face to shine, and we will be saved. Praise Yah. Praise Yahweh's name. Praise him, you servants of Yahweh, you who stand in Yahweh's house, in the courts of our God's house. Praise Yah, for Yahweh is good. Sing praises to his name, for that is pleasant. For Yah has chosen Jacob for himself, Israel for his own possession. For I know that Yahweh is great, that our Lord is above all gods. Whatever Yahweh pleased, that he has done, in heaven and in earth, in the seas and in all deeps. He causes the clouds to rise from the ends of the earth. He makes lightnings with the rain. He brings the wind out of his treasuries. He struck the firstborn of Egypt, both of man and of animal. He sent signs and wonders into the middle of you, Egypt, on Pharaoh and on all his servants. He struck many nations and killed mighty kings, Sihon, king of the Amorites, Og, king of Bashan, and all the kingdoms of Canaan, and gave their land for a heritage to Israel his people. Your name, Yahweh, endures forever, your renown, Yahweh, through all generations. For Yahweh will judge his people and have compassion on his servants. The idols of the nations are silver and gold, the work of men's hands. They have mouths, but they can't speak. They have eyes, but they can't hear. They have ears, but they can't hear. Neither is there any breath in their mouths. Those who make them will be like them. Yes, everyone who trusts in them. House of Israel, praise Yahweh. House of Aaron, praise Yahweh. House of Levi, praise Yahweh. You who fear Yahweh, praise Yahweh. Blessed be Yahweh from Zion, who dwells in Jerusalem. Praise Yah. A contemplation by Asaph. God, why have you rejected us forever? Why does your anger smolder against the sheep of your pasture? Remember your congregation. You have. Lift up your feet to the perpetual ruins, all the evil that the enemy has done in the sanctuary. Your adversaries have roared in the middle of your assembly. They have set up their standards as a sign. They behaved like men wielding axes, cutting through a thicket of trees. Now they break all its carved work down with a hatchet and hammers. They have burned your sanctuary to the ground. They have profaned the dwelling place of your name. They said in their heart, we will crush them completely. They have burned up all the places in the land where God was worshipped. We see no miraculous signs. There is no longer any prophet, neither is there among us anyone who knows how long. How long, God, shall the adversary reproach? Shall the enemy blaspheme your name forever? Why do you draw back your hand, even your right hand? Take it from your chest and consume them. Yet God is my King of old, working salvation throughout the earth. You divided the sea by your strength. You broke the heads of the sea monsters in the waters. You broke the heads of the Leviathan in pieces. You gave him as food to people and desert creatures. You opened up spring and steam. You dried up mighty rivers. The day is yours. The night is yours also. You have prepared the light and the sun. You have set all the boundaries of the earth. You have made summer and winter. Remember this, that the enemy has mocked you, Yahweh. Foolish people have blasphemed your name. Don't deliver the soul of your dove to wild beasts. Don't forget the life of your poor forever. Honor your covenant, for haunts of violence fill the dark places of the earth. Don't let the oppressed return ashamed. Let the poor and needy praise your name. Arise, God. Plead your own cause. Remember how the foolish man mocks you all day. Don't forget the voices of your adversaries. The tumult of those who rise up against you ascends continually. A Psalm by Asaph. God, the nations have come into your inheritance. They have defiled your holy temple. They have laid Jerusalem in heaps. They have given the dead bodies of your servants to be food for the birds of the sky, the flesh of your saints to the animals of the earth. They have shed their blood like water around Jerusalem. There was no one to bury them. We have become a reproach to our neighbors, a scoffing and derision to those who are around us. How long, Yahweh? Will you be angry forever? Will your jealousy burn like fire? Pour out your wrath on the nations that don't know you, on the kingdoms that don't call on your name. For they have devoured Jacob and destroyed his homeland. Don't hold the iniquities of our forefathers against us. Let your tender mercies speedily meet us, for we are in desperate need. Help us, God, of our salvation, for the glory of your name. Deliver us and forgive our sin for your name's sake. Why should the nations say, "Where is their God?" Let it be known among the nations, before our eyes, that vengeance for your servant's blood is being poured out. Let the sighing of the prisoner come before you. According to the greatness of your power, preserve those who are sentenced to death. Pay back to our neighbors 7 times into their bosom their reproach with which you have reproached, Lord. So we, your people and sheep of your pasture, will give you thanks forever. We will praise you forever to all generations. A revelation about Nineveh. The book and vision of Nahum, the Ekashite. Yahweh is a jealous God and avenges. Yahweh avenges and is full of wrath. Yahweh is slow to act in power, and will by no means leave the guilty unpunished. Yahweh has his way in the whirlwind and in the storm, and the clouds are the dust of his feet. He rebukes the sea and makes it dry, and dries up all the rivers. Bashan and Carmel languish. The flower of Lebanon languishes. The mountains quake before him, and the hills melt away. The earth trembles at his presence. Yes, the world and all who dwell in it. Who can stand before his indignation? Who can endure the fierceness of his anger? His wrath is poured out like fire, and the rocks are broken apart by him. Yahweh is good, a stronghold in the day of trouble, and he knows those who take refuge in him. But with an overwhelming flood, he will make a full end of her place, and will pursue his enemies into darkness. What do you plot against Yahweh? He will make a full end. Affliction won't rise up the second time, for entangled like thorns, and drunken as with their drink, they are consumed, utterly, like dry stubble. One has gone out of you, who devises evil against Yahweh, who counsels wickedness. Yahweh says, though they are in full strength, and likewise many, even so they will be cut down and pass away. Though I have afflicted you, I will afflict you no more. Now I will break off his yoke from you, and will burst your bonds apart. Yahweh has commanded concerning you, no more descendants will bear your name. Out of the house of your gods I will cut off the engraved image and the molten image. I will make your grave, for you are vile. Behold, on the mountains of the feet of him who bring good news, who publishes peace. Keep your feasts, Judah. Perform your vows, for the wicked one will no more pass through you. He is utterly cut off. He who dashes in pieces has come up against you. Keep the fortress, watch the way, strengthen your waist, fortify your power mightily. For Yahweh restores the excellency of Jacob as the excellency of Israel, for the destroyers have destroyed them and ruined their vine branches. The shield of his mighty men is made red. The valiant men are in scarlet. The chariots flash with steel in the day of his preparation, and the pine spears are brandished. The chariots rage in the streets. They rush back and forth in the wide ways. Their appearance is like torches. They run like the lightnings. He summons his picked troops. They stumble on their way. They dash to the wall, and the protective shield is put in place. The gates of the rivers are opened, and the palace is dissolved. It is decreed, she is uncovered, she is carried away, and her servants moan as with the voice of doves, beating on their breasts. But Nineveh has been from of old, like a pool of water, yet they flee away. Stop, stop, they cry, but no one looks back. Take the plunder of silver, take the plunder of gold, for there is no end of treasure, an abundance of every precious thing. She is empty, void, and waste. The heart melts, the knees knock together, their bodies and faces have grown pale. Where is the den of the lions and the feeding place of the young lions, where the lion and the lioness walked with the lion's cubs, and no one made them afraid? The lion tore in pieces enough for his cubs, and strangled prey for his lionesses, and filled his caves with the kill, and his dens with prey. Behold, I am against you, says Yahweh of armies, and I will burn her chariots in the smoke, and the sword will devour your young lions, and I will cut off your prey from the earth, and the voice of your messengers will no longer be heard. Woe to the bloody city! It is all full of lies and robbery, no end to the prey. The noise of the whip, the noise of the rattling of wheels, prancing horses and bounding chariots, the horseman charging and the flashing sword, the glittering spear and a multitude of slain, and a great heap of corpses, and there is no end of the bodies. They stumble on their bodies, because of the multitude of the prostitution of the alluring prostitute, the mistress of witchcraft, who sells nations through her prostitution, and families through her witchcraft. Behold, I am against you, says Yahweh of armies, and I will lift your skirt over your face. I will show the nations your nakedness, and the kingdoms your shame. I will throw abominable filth on you, and will make you vile, and will make you a spectacle. It will happen that all those who look at you will flee from you and say, Nineveh is laid waste, and who will mourn for her? Where will I seek comforters for you? Are you better than Noamon, who was situated among the rivers, who had the waters around her, and whose ramparts were the sea, and her wall was of the sea? Cush and Egypt were her boundless strength. Put and Libya were her helpers. Yet she was carried away. She went into captivity. Her young children were also dashed in pieces at the head of all the streets, and they cast lots for her honourable men, and all her great men were bound in chains. You also will be drunken. You will be hidden. You also will seek a stronghold because of the enemy. All your fortresses will be like fig trees with the first ripe figs. If they are shaken, they fall into the mouth of the eater. Behold, your troops among you are women. The gates of your land are set wide open to your enemies. The fire has devoured your bars. Draw water for the siege. Strengthen your fortresses. Go into the clay and tread the mortar. Make the brick kiln strong. There the fire will devour you. The sword will cut you off. It will devour you like the grasshopper. Multiply like grasshoppers. Multiply like the locust. You have increased your merchants more than the stars of the sky. The grasshopper strips and flees away. Your guards are like the locusts, and your officials like the swarms of locusts which settle on the walls on a cold day, but when the sun appears, they flee away, and their place is not known where they are. Your shepherds slumber, King of Assyria. Your nobles lie down. Your people are scattered on the mountains, and there is no one to gather them. There is no healing in your wound, for your injury is fatal. All who hear the report of you clap their hands over you, for who hasn't felt your endless cruelty? Yahweh's word which came to Zephaniah, the son of Cushi, the son of Gedaliah, the son of Amari, the son of Hezekiah, in the days of Josiah the son of Ammon, king of Judah. I will utterly sweep away everything from the surface of the earth, says Yahweh. I will sweep away man and animal. I will sweep away birds of the sky, the fish of the sea, and the heaps of rubble with the wicked. I will cut off man from the surface of the earth, says Yahweh. I will stretch out my hand against Judah and against all the inhabitants of Jerusalem. I will cut off the remnant of Baal from this place, the name of the idolatrous and pagan priests, those who worship the army of the sky on the housetops, those who worship and swear by Yahweh, and also swear by Malcham, those who have turned back from following Yahweh, and those who haven't sought Yahweh nor inquired after him. Be silent at the presence of the Lord Yahweh, for the day of Yahweh is at hand. For Yahweh has prepared a sacrifice. He has consecrated his guests. It will happen in the day of Yahweh's sacrifice that I will punish the princes, the king's sons, and all those who are clothed with foreign clothing. In that day I will punish all who leap over the threshold, who fill their master's house with violence and deceit. In that day, says Yahweh, there will be noise of a cry from the fish gate, a wailing from the second quarter, and a great crashing from the hills. Wail, you inhabitants of Maktesh, for all the people of Canaan are undone. All those who were loaded with silver are cut off. It will happen at that time that I will search Jerusalem with lamps, and I will punish the men who are settled on their dregs, who say in their hearts, Yahweh will not do good, neither will he do evil. Their wealth will become a plunder, and their house a desolation. Yes, they will build houses, but won't inhabit them. They will plant vines, but won't drink their wine. The great day of Yahweh is near. It is near, and hurries greatly, the voice of the day of Yahweh. The mighty man cries there bitterly. That day is a day of wrath, a day of distress and anguish, a day of trouble and ruin, a day of darkness and gloom, a day of clouds and blackness, a day of the trumpet and alarm against the fortified cities and against the high battlements. I will bring such distress on men that they will walk like blind men, because they have sinned against Yahweh. Their blood will be poured out like dust, and their flesh like dung. Neither their silver nor their gold will be able to deliver them in the day of Yahweh's wrath, but the whole land will be devoured by the fire of his jealousy, for he will make an end, yes, a terrible end, of all those who dwell in the land. Gather yourselves together, yes, gather together, you nation that has no shame, before the appointed time, when the day passes as chaff, before the fierce anger of Yahweh comes on you, before the day of Yahweh's anger comes on you. Seek Yahweh, all you humble of the land who have kept his ordinances. Seek righteousness, seek humility. It may be that you will be hidden in the day of Yahweh's anger. For Gaza will be forsaken, and Ashkelon a desolation. They will drive out Ashdod at noonday, and Ekron will be rooted up. Woe to the inhabitants of the sea coast, the nation of the Cherethites. Yahweh's word is among you. Canaan, the land of the Philistines. I will destroy you until there is no inhabitant. The sea coast will be pastures, with cottages for shepherds, and folds for flocks. The coast will be for the remnant of the house of Judah. They will find pastures. In the houses of Ashkelon they will lie down in the evening, for Yahweh their God will visit them and restore them. I have heard the reproach of Moab and the insults of the children of Ammon, with which they have reproached my people and magnified themselves against their border. Therefore, as I live, says Yahweh of armies, the God of Israel, surely Moab will be as Sodom, and the children of Ammon as Gomorrah, a possession of nettles and salt pits, and a perpetual desolation. The remnant of my people will plunder them, and the survivors of my nation will inherit them. This they will have for their pride, because they have reproached and magnified themselves against the people of Yahweh of armies. Yahweh will be awesome to them, for he will famish all the gods of the land. Men will worship him, everyone from his place, even all the shores of the nations. You Cushites also, you will be killed by my sword. He will stretch out his hand against the north, destroy Assyria, and will make Nineveh a desolation as dry as the wilderness. Herds will lie down in the middle of her, all kinds of animals. Both the pelican and the porcupine will lodge in its capitals. Their calls will echo through the windows. Desolation will be in the thresholds, for he has laid bare the cedar beams. This is the joyous city that lived carelessly, that said in her heart, I am, and there is no one besides me. How she has become a desolation, a place for animals to lie down in. Everyone who passes by her will hiss and shake their fists. Woe to her who is rebellious and polluted the oppressing city. She didn't obey the voice. She didn't receive correction. She didn't trust in Yahweh. She didn't draw near to her God. Her princes are within her, are roaring lions. Her judges are evening wolves. They leave nothing until the next day. Her prophets are arrogant and treacherous people. Her priests have profaned the sanctuary. They have done violence to the law. Yahweh is within her and is righteous. He will do no wrong. Every morning he brings his justice to light. He doesn't fail, but the unjust know no shame. I have cut off nations. Their battlements are desolate. I have made their streets waste, so that no one passes by. Their cities are destroyed, so that there is no man, so that there is no inhabitant. I said, just fear me, receive correction, so that her dwelling won't be cut off, according to all that I have appointed concerning her. But they rose early and corrupted all their doings. Therefore wait for me, says Yahweh, until the day that I rise up to the prey, for my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms, to pour on them my indignation, even all my fierce anger. For all the earth will be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. For then I will purify the lips of the people, that they may all call on Yahweh's name, to serve him shoulder to shoulder. From beyond the rivers of Cush, my worshippers, even the daughter of my dispersed people, will bring my offering. In that day you will not be disappointed for all your doings in which you have transgressed against me. For then I will take away from among you your proudly exulting ones. You will no longer be arrogant in my holy mountain, but I will leave among you an afflicted and poor people, and they will take refuge in Yahweh's name. The remnant of Israel will not do iniquity, nor speak lies, neither will a deceitful tongue be found in their mouth, for they will feed and lie down, and no one will make them afraid. Sing, daughters of Zion. Shout, Israel. Be glad and rejoice with all your heart, daughter of Jerusalem. Yahweh has taken away your judgment. He has thrown out your enemy. The King of Israel, Yahweh, is among you. You will not be afraid of evil any more. In that day it will be said to Jerusalem, don't be afraid, Zion. Don't let your hands be weak. Yahweh your God is among you, a mighty one who will save. He will rejoice over you with joy. He will calm you in his love. He will rejoice over you with singing. I will remove those who grieve about the appointed feasts from you. They are a burden and a reproach to you. Behold, at that time I will deal with all those who afflict you, and I will save those who are lame and gather those who were driven away. I will give them praise and honor, and whose shame has been in all the earth. At that time I will bring you in, and at that time I will gather you. For I will give you honor and praise among all the peoples of the earth, when I restore your fortunes before your eyes, says Yahweh. The revelation of Habakkuk, the revelation which Habakkuk the prophet saw. Yahweh, how long will I cry, and you will not hear? I cry out to you violence, and will you not save? Why do you show me iniquity, and look at perversity? For destruction and violence are before me. There is strife and contention that rises up. Therefore the law is paralyzed, and justice never prevails. For the wicked surround the righteous. Therefore justice comes out pervertedly. Look among the nations, watch and wonder marvelously, for I am working a work in your days, which you will not believe, though it is told you. For behold, I am raising up the Chaldeans, that bitter and hasty nation, who march through the width of the earth to possess dwelling places that are not theirs. They are feared and dreaded, their judgment and their dignity proceeding from themselves. Their horses also are swifter than leopards, and are far more fierce than the evening wolves. Their horsemen press proudly on. Yes, their horsemen come from afar. They fly as an eagle that hurries to devour. All of them come for violence. Their hordes face forward. They gather prisoners like sand. Yes, they scoff at kings, and princes are a derision to them. They laugh at every stronghold, where they build up an earthen ramp and take it. Then they sweep by like the wind and go on. They are indeed guilty, whose strength is their God. Aren't you from everlasting, Yahweh my God, my Holy One? We will not die. Yahweh, you have appointed them for judgment. You, Rock, have established him to punish. You have appointed them for judgment. You who have purer eyes than to see evil, who cannot look on perversity. Why do you tolerate those who deal treacherously, and keep silent when the wicked swallows up the man who is more righteous than he, and make men like the fish of the sea, like the creeping things that have no ruler over them? He takes up all of them with the hook. He catches them in his net, and gathers them in his dragnet. Therefore he rejoices and is glad. Therefore he sacrifices to his net, and burns incense to his dragnet. Because by them his life is luxurious, and his food is good. Will he therefore continually empty his net, and kill the nations without mercy? I will stand at my watch, and set myself on the ramparts, and will look out to see what he will say to me, and what I will answer concerning my complaint. Yahweh answered me, Write the vision, and make it plain on the tablets, that he who runs may read it. For the vision is yet for the appointed time, and it hurries toward the end, and won't prove false. Though it takes time, wait for it, because it will surely come. It won't delay. Behold, his soul is puffed up. It is not upright in him. But the righteous will live by his faith. Yes, moreover, wine is treacherous. An arrogant man who doesn't stay at home, who enlarges his desire as Sheol. He is like death, and can't be satisfied, but gathers to himself all nations, and heaps to himself all peoples. Won't all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, Woe to him who increases that which is not his, and who enriches by himself, and who enriches himself by extortion? How long? Won't your debtors rise up suddenly, and wake up those who make you tremble, and you will be their victim, because you have plundered many nations. All the remnant of the peoples will plunder you because of men's blood, and for the violence done to the land, to the city, and to all who dwell in it. Woe to him who gets an evil gain for his house, that he may set his nest on high, that he may be delivered from the hand of evil. You have devised shame to your house by cutting off many peoples, and have sinned against your soul. For the stone will cry out of the wall, and beam out of the woodwork will answer it. Woe to him who builds a town with blood, and establishes a city by iniquity. Behold, isn't it from Yahweh of armies that the people labor for the fire, and the nations weary themselves for vanity? For the earth will be filled with the knowledge of Yahweh's glory, as the waters cover the sea. Woe to him who gives his neighbor drink, pouring your inflaming wine until they are drunk, so that you may gaze upon their naked bodies. You are filled with shame and not glory. You will also drink and be exposed. The cup of Yahweh's right hand will come around to you, and disgrace will cover your glory. For the violence done to Lebanon will overwhelm you, and the destruction of animals will terrify you, because of men's blood. And for the violence done to the land, to every city, and to those who dwell in them. What value does the engraved image have, that its maker has engraved it? The molten image, even the teacher of lies, that he who fashions its form trusts in it to make mute idols. Woe to him who says to the wood, awake, or to the mute stone, arise. Shall this teach? Behold, it is overlaid with gold and silver, and there is no breath at all within it. But Yahweh is in his holy temple. Let the earth be silent before him. A prayer of Habakkuk the prophet, set to victorious music. Yahweh, I have heard of your fame. I stand in awe of your deeds. Yahweh, renew your work in the middle of the years. In the middle of the years make it known. In wrath you remember mercy. God came from Teman, the Holy One from Mount Paran. His glory covered the heavens, and his praise filled the earth. His splendor is like the sunrise. Rays shine from his hand, where his power is hidden. Plague went before him, and pestilence followed his feet. He stood and shook the earth. He looked and made the nations tremble. The ancient mountains were covered. The age-old hills collapsed. His ways are eternal. I saw the tents of Cushan in affliction. The dwellings of the land of Midian trembled. Was Yahweh displeased with the rivers? Was your anger against the rivers, or your wrath against the sea, that you rose on your horses, on your chariots of salvation? You uncovered your bow. You called for your sworn arrows. You split the earth with rivers. The mountains saw you and were afraid. The storm of waters passed by. The deep roared and lifted up his hands on high. The sun and moon stood still in the sky, at the light of your arrows as they went. At the shining of your glittering spear, you marched through the land in wrath. You threshed the nations in anger. You went out for the salvation of your people, for the salvation of your anointed. You crushed the head of the land of wickedness. You stripped them head to foot. You pierced the heads of his warriors with their own spears. They came as a whirlwind to scatter me, gloating as if to devour the wretched in secret. You trampled the sea with your horses, churning mighty waters. I heard and my body trembled. My lips quivered at my voice. At the voice, rottenness enters into my bones, and I tremble in my place, because I must wait quietly for the day of trouble, for the coming up of the people who invade us. For even though the fig tree doesn't flourish, nor fruit be in the vines, the labor of the olive fails. The fields yield no food. The flock are cut off from the fold, and there is no herd in the stalls. Yet I will rejoice in Yahweh. I will be joyful in the God of my salvation. Yahweh, the Lord, is my strength. He makes my feet like the deer's feet, and enables me to go in high places, for the music director on my stringed instruments.